abandoned towns in northeast Alabama. A ghost town, some called it. A figment of imagination, others scoffed. But for me, a journalist chasing shadows, Braxton was a siren song, a mystery begging to be unraveled. My research led me to a dead end. No public records, no census data, nothing that confirmed Braxton's existence. Yet, whispers persisted, fueled by miners who claimed to have stumbled upon its desolate remains. Driven by curiosity and a healthy dose of skepticism, I ventured into the Appalachian Mountains, following a trail known only to locals. The air grew thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the rustle of leaves and the occasional cry of a bird. Then, a noxious smell hit me like a physical blow. Rotten eggs, amplified 100-fold. My eyes watered as I pulled out a mask, a relic from the pandemic days. Pushing forward, I emerged into a clearing. There it was, Braxton, a chilling tableau of a town frozen in time. Dilapidated buildings, draped in moss, lined a deserted main street. Faded murals on brick walls hinted at a life once vibrant. A thrill of excitement coursed through me. I was the first, perhaps the only one, to document this lost world. My camera clicked, capturing Braxton's spectral beauty. Suddenly, a cough. A raspy, guttural cough that echoed through the empty streets. My heart leaped into my throat. A figure emerged from behind a boarded-up drugstore. Photos, the figure rasped, its voice a sandpaper scrape. Fear, cold and primal, gripped me. The figure lurched closer, revealing a face ravaged by dirt and fresh wounds. Its body was twisted, contorted, as if from a horrific fall. This was no living person. Panic sent my legs into overdrive. I scrambled back, the figure lumbering after me. More coughs echoed from the alleyways, multiplying into a chorus of rasping sounds. Gazing into the void where the figure's eyes should have been, I saw a reflection of myself, a terrified intruder in their cursed domain. Photos. Photos, the figures chanted, a mob coalescing from the shadows. I sprinted, lungs burning, towards my car, the chanting growing louder with each passing second. The figures, a grotesque amalgam of tortured souls, gave chase. My tires squealed as I tore away from Braxton, leaving behind a nightmare etched into my memory. Back in the safety of my home, I rushed to review the photos, desperate for proof. But the images were empty. Only trees, a dense, unending forest. Had it all been a hallucination? Then, a shiver ran down my spine. The very first picture, taken at the mining plant, held a hidden horror. On the mountaintop, barely visible, stood the same figure, its empty eyes staring directly back at me. Braxton, it seemed, wasn't a place easily forgotten. It clung to you, a malevolent memory, a testament to the horrors that lurked in the forgotten corners of the world. My body racked with coughs and chills. I spent a week in the hospital. The doctors, baffled by my lung irritation, blamed it on exposure to hydrogen sulfide, a toxic gas found in the mountains. The area's supposed to be off limits, the doctor muttered, further fueling my suspicion. Once home, the memory of Braxton's horrors gnawed at me. The lack of photographic evidence fueled my self-doubt. Was it all a fever dream? Yet, the photo of the figure on the mountain, a chilling confirmation, lurked in the back of my mind. Determined to unravel the truth, I delved deeper. My research led me to obscure historical records, a mining settlement called Braxton, established in the 1800s. The records spoke of a horrific mining accident, a gas explosion that leveled the town and left no survivors. But whispers persisted, tales of miners returning from Braxton, scarred and muttering about shadow people and their insatiable demands for photos. A local legend claimed Braxton was trapped in a purgatory, the souls of the deceased forever reliving the moment of the disaster. Fueled by a morbid fascination and a reporter's tenacity, I decided to return to Braxton, armed with a gas detector and a digital recorder. This time, I wouldn't be alone. I contacted a paranormal investigator, a woman named Sarah with a reputation for her skepticism and meticulous methods. Reaching Braxton, we found the scene unchanged, a chilling tableau of a town consumed by time. The gas detector went off the charts, confirming the doctor's warning. Sarah set up her equipment, muttering about residual energy fields. As dusk settled, an unsettling feeling crept in. Shadows seemed to writhe, and the air crackled with a strange energy. Then, the coughing started, faint at first, then growing louder, closer. A figure emerged from the shadows, its face contorted in a mask of pain. "Photos," it rasped, echoing the demand from my last visit. Sarah held up a hand. "We come in peace. We can help you find your peace." The figure tilted its head, confusion flickering in the empty sockets of its eyes. "Help?" Emboldened, I ventured forward, camera in hand. "We want to tell your story," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. The figure didn't attack, but a low moan rose from the surrounding buildings, other figures materializing. Sarah started recording, capturing their mournful whispers. Over the next few hours, we documented their stories, tales of hardship, camaraderie, and the sudden, horrifying end. As they shared their experiences, a strange calm settled on the town. By morning, the air felt lighter, the shadows less menacing. The figures, their stories told, began to fade, a gentle luminescence emanating from them. Leaving Braxton for the last time, I carried a newfound understanding. Braxton wasn't a place of malice, but of tragedy, a purgatory for the forgotten souls. Our visit, our recording of their stories, seemed to have facilitated their release. The town itself remained, a silent testament to a forgotten tragedy. But the story lived on, not in photos, but in the digital recordings, a chilling reminder of the lives lost and the souls finally allowed to rest.
Echoes of the deep. The rhythmic crashing of waves against the lighthouse walls was the only sound that dared to interrupt the oppressive silence within. Amelia, the new assistant keeper, shivered, not from the chill of the North Atlantic wind, but from the unsettling aura that clung to the place. Keeper Thorne, a weathered hulk of a man with eyes perpetually clouded by a film of sorrow, hadn't uttered a word since Amelia's arrival. The isolation was suffocating, broken only by the monotonous routine of lighthouse maintenance and the chilling loneliness gnawing at Amelia. One stormy night, however, the silence shattered. A frantic pounding on the metal door echoed through the cavernous chamber, followed by a desperate voice, "Keeper Thorne. Open up. It's Edgar." Amelia rushed to open the door, a wave of relief washing over her at the sight of a familiar face. Edgar, the young fisherman who often supplied Thorne with fresh fish, stood drenched and shivering, fear etched into his features. "Amelia," he gasped, "there's been a murder. Old man Jenkins, found dead in his cabin. Looks like something mauled him." Amelia's blood ran cold. Old man Jenkins, a recluse known for his rambling pronouncements about star demons and body snatchers, was now another victim of the sea's cruelty. Driven by morbid curiosity and a flicker of suspicion regarding Thorne's stoicism, Amelia insisted on accompanying Edgar back to the cabin. The scene that greeted them was a tableau of horror. Jenkins lay sprawled on the floor, his face a grotesque mask of terror. But unlike the rumored sea monster attacks, bite marks and claw wounds were absent. Suddenly, a flicker of movement in the corner caught Amelia's eye. A wisp of translucent energy, a pulsating, formless entity, hovered inches above Jenkins' body. It writhed, tendrils reaching out like searching fingers. An involuntary scream ripped from Amelia's throat. The entity, startled, turned towards them. Before it could react, Edgar, wielding his trusty harpoon, lunged. The harpoon tip sank deep into the entity's pulsating core. A shriek, a sound unlike anything Amelia had ever heard, filled the air as the entity disintegrated into a swarm of glowing particles that vanished into the night. Relief and terror warred within them. They had witnessed the impossible, but at what cost? Edgar, with a newfound horror in his eyes, turned to Amelia. "I saw it before, Amelia," he confessed, his voice a mere whisper. "That night I almost didn't make it back from the storm. It offered me a way out. It would take Jenkins' place." The truth slammed into Amelia like a rogue wave. Edgar wasn't seeking help, he was seeking to make good on his deal with the entity, a deal he had secured to survive the storm. In that moment, a realization dawned on Amelia. Edgar hadn't witnessed a murder, he had committed it. Panic surged through her. Trapped in a storm-ravaged cabin with Edgar, the would-be murderer, Amelia knew she had to act fast. Using her knowledge of the lighthouse's layout and the panic clouding Edgar's judgment, Amelia managed to lock him in a storage room. With a pounding heart, she raced back to the lighthouse, the storm's fury a backdrop to the frantic pounding coming from the locked room. As dawn painted the sky in streaks of bruised purple and orange, Amelia emerged from the lighthouse, a lone figure against the unforgiving sea. Word of events quickly spread, and Edgar was apprehended. The townsfolk, relieved of the fear of a sea monster, looked at Amelia with a mixture of gratitude and suspicion. But for Amelia, the silence within the lighthouse now held a new meaning, a chilling reminder of the night she witnessed the true monster, not from the depths of the sea, but from the depths of human desperation.